Jurisprudence and legal theory in English language. Legal person or legal personality is the topic for discussion today. Dear student friends, you are aware that I am Dr. Rega Surya Rao, Senior Professor of Law, Principal Retired, Aided Law College, Maharashtra, India. Today I am going to take up most important chapter from examination point of view. This chapter is person and legal person or legal personality. Meaning, definition, different kinds of legal persons, legal status of unborn, dead men, animals, idle, mosque and corporation are the topics for discussion today. I will try my best to cover as more topics as possible, and remaining topics I will take up in the next class. I require 2 classes for completion of this chapter. This chapter is very important from examination point of view. One essay question will come certainly. Otherwise, short notes, 1 or 2 short notes will come certainly in almost all Indian university question papers for your information. Now, before going to start the lecture, let me take 1 minute with your kind permission to pray God, pay homage to my reverend parents Rega Parao and late Srimati Kantaratnam, and my beloved wife Mrs. Tirumala Gauri, who had been my good source of help and strength as associate author in bringing out so many academic ventures. And let me express my deep sense of gratitude to all the godfathers, in particular to my student friends who are instrumental for what I am now. And finally, I deem it a duty and obligation to express my heartfelt thanks and gratitude to the authors whose textbooks I have referred, and the authors of articles and research papers in internet whose publications I have referred for the purpose of delivering this lecture. This subject, person or legal person or legal personality, is very important topic. In this I will explain you person, kinds of persons, legal personality, and this thing. Now, here tentatively I will tell you the meaning of this content of this subject. See here in previous lecture, rights and duties, correlation between rights and duties, I told you that rights and duties are correlative to each other. For every right there is a corresponding duty as enunciated by distinguished jurist Salman. How rights and duties are correlative, I explained in detail in the previous lecture. As such, rights and duties are the most important elements of law and the determining factors in the administration of justice. In other words, rights and duties are the most important determining factors in the administration of justice. For the reason, whoever wants to approach court seeking justice must have right. He should invoke particular right to seek justice in the court of law. If the court will adjudicate the case, decide the case, provided his right is identified. If the court acknowledges his right and provided there is a corresponding duty or obligation on some other person, this court will entertain the case for adjudication. So in a trial, if the right is acknowledged, the court will give order or decree imposing liability on the defendant or respondent or whatever may be. So that is why rights and duties are the most important determining factor in the administration of justice. So These rights and duties are vested in some category of persons by birth. These rights and duties are vested, are available by not available, but the law will confer. These rights and duties are available through some legal process. In other words, in a natural person, that is a human being, the rights and duties are there by birth. So, rights and duties are there by birth. So, if a person, a natural person is having rights and duties, he can have right to own property, he can enter into contract. So then when a contract is entered into between two or more persons, the parties can have right to sue and be sued. So those persons who are having rights and duties are deemed to be persons in the eyes of law. In some cases, that is in natural person, these rights and duties are available by birth. In some cases, like dead person, unborn, the animals, these rights and duties are not available, but they are conferred by law. Law confers these rights and duties on certain peculiar persons, that is unborn person, that is a child in mother's womb, lower animal, dead person, etc. Some the other idle mass are there for your purpose. And next, lastly, some rights and obligations are conferred on certain persons which are non-living beings like companies, corporations, firms, etc. through some legal process, through the process of incorporation or registration. So, in this lecture, I wish to take up legal personality of natural person, legal personality of some peculiar persons like unborn or unborn person or child in mother's womb, dead person, dead man or dead person, animal or lower animals, mass, idols, and corporations. Companies are corporation, corporate personality, and lifting the corporate personality are the topics for discussion. I will try to complete as more as possible. Now let us now discuss about the term meaning of the person. The term person is derived from the Latin word persona, 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 which means mask worn by actors while playing different roles in a drama or playlet. So this word person is derived from Latin word persona, which means some mask worn by different characters in a playlet or drama while playing their roles. That is the meaning given to this. So it means it means there are some the legal person or legal person is a natural being or non-natural being, natural being or any object which would possess rights and duties, which will possess rights and duties, either human being or other than human being, is conferred these rights and duties in the sense that natural being, that human being or an artificial person can possess rights and duties to own property in his or its own name. It can enter into contract, it can sue and be sued. So when a person, natural person or otherwise, is found possessing legal personality containing rights and duties, that person is deemed to have been a person in existence in the eyes of law. Person or legal person is a person or an object which is in existence in the eyes of law. A child, a man or woman is born. That man or woman who are born, it is in existence. A company, until and unless the company is registered, it is not in existence. When the company is registered, then only its name will be recorded in the register. Then only it comes into existence. With registration, company is born. So similarly, a partnership can be registered or may not be registered. It is not compulsory. If a partnership company firm is registered, it can have some legal status and will have some privileges and benefits. So after when the firm is registered through a partnership deed, that partnership is existence. So a person, a natural person or non-natural person, company or corporation, firm or anything, will come into is acknowledged as it is in existence, provided it fulfills rights and obligations. Rights and obligations are condition precedent or prerequisite for legal personality. This legal personality is a condition precedent for enter into a contract, capacity to enter into contract as explained in section 11 and 12 of the Indian Contract Act. So the rights and duties will give existence. With that existence, that person or legal person can own property and can enter into contract and to enter into agreement. This is what is called legal person. So this legal person are basically three categories. One category is natural person, human being. Human being will get rights and duties, male or female will get legal right by birth only. So that is why that is how an individual gets citizenship by birth in a particular country, that is called citizenship by domicile. Like that, a natural person gets rights and duties by birth. And companies, corporations, firms, etc., they get legal personality by some legal process, incorporation or registration or fulfilling certain legal formalities. So law confers legal personality on some artificial persons which are not human beings, artificial persons which are companies, corporations, etc., through some legal process, registration, requisite fee, etc. But there are third category of persons. They are neither come within the meaning of natural person nor come within the meaning of companies, corporations, etc. This category is between human beings and corporations, firms. Here there are some special category of persons, special category of legal persons for whom, in respect of which law confers legal personality and acknowledges existence of those persons. For example, dead man is there. Dead man, so until and unless the person is alive, he will have legal rights and duties. When a person dies, legal rights and duties die on the date of death. Unborn person, until and unless the boy or girl is born, there is no any existence, no question of rights and duties can be available in unborn. Maybe child not yet conceived or child delivered. Child conceived but in mother's womb, not delivered, not born. That child also is unborn child. Similarly, animals cannot have rights and duties. His owners, their owners are merely treated as property, like some movable property, and the owner will have the rights of the property. They are the objects of rights. That is, they belong to some property. This is some. Similarly, idol, mosque. What is the status? We have to discuss in this class. Now, these legal persons are three categories. One is natural person, second one is artificial person or fictitious person or moral person, that is company, corporation, universities, clubs, etc. But this farmer, natural person gets legal personality by birth. And the second category, companies, corporation, they get legal personality by some legal process by fulfilling some legal formalities and requisite fee. State confers, law confers legal status. And whereas neither this category or not that category, there are some special categories of persons. They are unborn person, dead person, lower animals, etc. Lower animals, masks and idol, etc. are other some peculiar category. What is the legal personality we have to do? So this legal personality comprising of rights and duties is a condition to is a condition for existence of a particular human being or non-human being, non-human being, so that if rights and duties are available, that person can approach the court. Rights and duties are most important elements of law. Rights and duties are the fundamental principles in the administration of justice. Any person, the purpose of administration of justice is to provide justice to the aggrieved person. Whoever wants to approach court seeking justice, he must have right. When he approaches the court invoking some right, the court, while adjudicating the case, while deciding the case, will take into consideration various aspects, whether there is any corresponding duty on the opposite party. Then the court considers that there is a corresponding duty on opposite party. Then only the court will entertain the case and will give judgment in favor of the plaintiff or even petitioner or applicant, whatsoever may be. This is the position. That is why rights and duties are the most important factors in administration of justice. Now, what is the meaning of the word person? The word person is derived from the Latin word persona, which means mask worn by actors while playing different roles in a drama. This is the meaning. So here, there are three kinds of persons I told you. Some persons, that is natural persons, man, woman, or even misgendered today, is conferred that status, and they get legal rights by birth. And second category, companies, corporations, they get legal personality, that is rights and duties, and they can own property in their own name. They can sue and be sued. But natural persons act independently on their own, whereas artificial persons like companies, corporations, firms, etc., they cannot act independently on their own. They can act through some human agency. Suppose a company can sue and be sued before registration through promoters, that is human beings. After registration, company can sue and be sued through natural person, that is directors. A firm can sue and be sued through natural person, that is partners. Like that for clubs, secretary or president, like that, as the case may be. So natural persons act independently to sue and be sued, enter into contract, own property directly, whereas company or corporations and other artificial persons, these artificial persons are also known as fictitious persons or moral persons, they act through agency. But whereas between these two, some peculiar persons I told you, unborn, dead person, etc., also cannot act independently. Some human representative appointed by the deceased, or that is in case of dead person, or the person appointed by the court, or through trust or trustee. So these only human beings alone can act independently, but second and third category can sue and be sued through human agency, that is with the help of human beings only. This is the meaning of legal person, kinds of legal person, and etc. So here, this is what is called legal personality. Legal personality. Now meaning. Now next one is Because here, what we have to discuss is legal personality comprises of rights and duties is condition precedent or prerequisite for prerequisite to capacity to sue and be sued. If you are a if you have legal personality, you get rights and duties. If you have rights and duties, you can own the property. When you if you want to own property, you can transfer property to somebody. Somebody can transfer property to you, maybe either human being or other than human being. When once these transactions, contracts enter into agreement, dispute may take place. If dispute takes place, you can the legal person can sue others, other can sue legal person, other can a legal person. What is this status? In various aspects we have to discuss. Meaning kinds we have told you, we have to speak about the definition of person or legal person. There are several definitions. The definition is very easy. What all I have explained about this definition is almost the same. Salmond defined person or legal person as any being or substance which is entitled to rights and liable for duties. Any human being or other than human being substance who is entitled to rights and who is having obligation to duties. That person is a legal person, Salmon said. What Gray said, an entity to which rights and duties may be attributed. Any entity to which rights and duties are attributed, conferred, given. That is legal, that is person. This is according to definition of Gray. And the next definition, Savini. Savini has defined the term person as the subject or bearer of rights. He covered means subject of right means owner of the right. The owner of right is right. That is legal personality. He said he missed duties. So that is why it is subjected to criticism. So what is this legal personality? When this legal personality came into existence, when the courts thought of acknowledging legal personality, if a person is having legal personality, then only his rights and duties can be acknowledged when it came. So earlier, the question of legal person or legal personality was not there prior to 16th century. The legal personality was acknowledged, recognized by courts in 60th century. 60th century means 60, that is 40 years back. 60th century means 16th century. 16th century, we are in 20th century. 600 onward, Britishers came to India in 1600 and they established East India Company to rule Indian territory. That is legal history subject. From 16th century only, this legal personality brought into limelight, and since then legal personality is there. Earlier there was no this thing. So this legal person are basically two categories. One is natural person, that is human being. Otherwise others are non-human beings. By registration, companies, corporation, firms will get, but the law gives personality as a special case. Such cases are unborn, dead person, etc. That is natural person and kinds of legal person. But anyway, the legal persons get rights and duties by birth. There are some exceptions. There are certain special classes of persons barred from rights and duties. Slaves are there. Slaves who do not have any rights and duties. Some, according to section 11 and 12 of Indian Contract Act, certain persons are exempted from not competent to enter into contract. A legally disqualified persons are there. Alien enemy is there. Convict is there. Insolvent is there. And insane person means who doesn't have sound mind. Such persons are exempted from this. So, though they are natural persons, they do not have rights and duties. They cannot sue and be sued. That is natural person. I have completed. Kinds of person I have completed. Next one is we have to discuss definition also. We have covered. Now we have to discuss about different peculiar category of person. Peculiar category of persons. So as I told you already, rights and duties are available by birth to human beings. Exceptions are slaves, legally disqualified people, and the rights and duties are acquired by registration and other incorporation formalities for companies, corporation, firms. But the law gives legal personality, that is, law provides rights and duties as a special and exceptional cases. That special and exceptional cases are, we have to discuss. they are basically unborn. First one is unborn. We have to discuss about unborn. What is the legal personality of unborn? What is the legal personality of dead man? What is the legal personality of lower animal? What is the legal personality of idol? What is the legal personality of mask? Thereafter, we have to discuss about the legal personality of dead person. So now let us come to discuss about legal status of unborn. Legal status of unborn. So here, an unborn person is one who is not yet born. An unborn persons are two categories. A child who has not yet been conceived, and child conceived but not delivered, but not born. So here, a newly wedded couple got married 1 month back. We are hopeful that they will give birth to a child shortly, in a 1 year or 2 years. That is the hope. So that means the child has not yet been conceived in mother's womb. Means the woman, the married woman, is not pregnant, not yet been declared pregnant. That is, child not yet been conceived. If conceived, the child, the pregnant woman is found pregnant. The married woman is found pregnant, but she has to give safe delivery of the child. Until and unless the child is born, until and unless safe delivery, that child is in mother's womb. So an unborn or an unborn person is one who has not yet been in existence, who is not born. Either that child is in mother's womb, if conceived, if the child is not yet been conceived in mother's womb. So this one. So earlier, the child in mother's womb, conceived or not conceived, do not get any legal personality by birth. They cannot have any rights and duties. They cannot own any property. They cannot sue and be sued, normally speaking. But law provides as an exceptional and special case legal personality, that is rights and duties on child, as a special case. So here, in earlier, there was a conception that the unborn child, is doesn't have any existence and cannot get any rights and doesn't have any legal personality, cannot sue and be sued. But one case was reported in law of tort. There was an Irish case, Walker versus GN Railway Company. A case was filed. A pregnant woman was travelling in a train belonging to Irish government. Due to negligence of the train driver, accident took place. That pregnant woman, without completion of since months were not completed for delivery, she got premature delivery and gave birth to a child in a deformed condition. So then subsequently the child filed a case against the Irish company for negligence of their railway. But the Irish court said that at the time of the accident, the petitioner, the plaintiff, was not in existence. Since the child was not in existence, would not get rights and duties. Any person would get rights and duties only on birth, that is after existence. The case was dismissed. According to Irish case, Walker vs. DN Railway Company, the unborn child is not in existence and is not entitled to rights and duties. So that child in mother's womb, unborn child, was not having legal personality. That was the decision. But subsequently, in a Canadian case in the year 1901, there was some Canadian case, Walker Montreal Tramway versus Lively. In this case also facts are almost identical. In this case, plaintiff's mother, pregnant woman, plaintiff in this case was a child. Plaintiff's mother, pregnant woman, while traveling in train, accident took place due to negligence of the train driver. Of the child was born with club feet. The child was born club feet. When after some time the child brought an action against the Canadian Railway Company, but the Canadian court the child's, though not in existence at the time of accident, acknowledged the legal right or legal personality of the child and awarded damages. In Irish case, legal personality was not accepted. In Canadian case, legal personality of unborn child was accepted. Subsequently, this matter was discussed in England, and though there was no case reported in England so far as the prenatal injuries liability is concerned, the Parliament of England passed an act, Congenital Disability Civil Liability Act 1976 they passed, and they provided legal personality of unborn child for prenatal injuries. According to the Congenital Disability Civil Liability Act 1976, an unborn child also can sue for tortious liability. Secondly, provided the child must be born alive, survived for 48 years minimum. He can also file a case against mother for her negligence. He can also contribute to negligence. The defendant can plead contributory negligence. With these rules, they passed liability. They passed an act conferring legal personality of unborn child. Similarly, almost all countries in the world passed legislations acknowledging legal personality to unborn child. That is, child not yet been conceived and child conceived but not yet born. Almost all countries in the world passed legislations in favor of the unborn child, conferring legal personality, so that the legal that child in mother's womb through some next friend or either guardian or through a person appointed by the court can own property, can enter into contract, can sue, can be sued. But here in India, there are so many provisions in India conferring legal personality on child. Then Section 13 of Transfer of Property Act 1882 tells that any property, movable or immovable, can be transferred in the name of a child in mother's womb under Section 15 of the Transfer of Property Act. And according to Section 20 of Hindu Succession Act 1956, according to Section 20 of Hindu Succession Act, that is law of inheritance. A child can inherit property as a legal heir. A child in an unborn child, whether conceived or not yet conceived, can inherit property when a person died without any will, and the property there are only 5 years. The entire property of 5 crores is distributed